We're live.
Hello. Hi, everybody, and welcome to what episode is this? Is this the ninth episode?
8 or 9.
I think the eighth or ninth episode of Fourth True Outcome, and nine, that's a big baseball number. Um, we're joined here by one James and producer Gordon is also
Yeah,
involved.
I thought it was producer James.
Hmm,
It's
No,
just
you're
producer
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 Gordon.
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 Oh,
You can be
Yeah.
Gordon.
what do I
You put,
produce or something?
yeah, yeah. You produce
After
poop.
today, you're gonna be stuck as producer Gordon for a long time.
Might
Yeah,
just be producer.
yeah. The folks are going to want to hear about your ballots. It's a tough situation. But yeah, welcome to Fourth True Outcome. It is the end of the regular season as I am talking. The first day of the playoffs is in its second half. The Diamondbacks are beating the Brewers in the seventh inning. That's a little timestamp for those listening. Um, so do you guys want to recap how we got here real quick? Or just how it shook out at the very end?
About the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
How the Astros are inevitable and the Rangers
hmm
failed us.
Yeah, I think everyone in the ALS failed us.
Yeah, I was watching that Mariners Rangers series pretty intently. That crowd up there, that crowd up in Seattle knows how to get rowdy. Um, and they honestly almost pulled it off. Luis Castillo in one inning had like three or four two-strike counts on guys, could not put him away. And then just a few singles, it was 4-0, and it that was it for them.
Yeah, and the
Of
Astros
that,
took care of the Diamondbacks too.
yeah.
That was
But
unfortunate. Beat
but
Gallo.
the Rangers blew it. There's no two
Yeah.
ways about it. They blew it. Um, they are. I think that they are a team that is positioned pretty well in the playoffs. They can hit the crap out of the ball. But that bullpen is really not good. I don't trust Aroldis Chapman in a big game, if
Oh
you can
hell
believe
no!
it.
If they meet up
You
with the
kidding me?
Astros,
Aroldis Chapman going up against the Rays? I'm not a fan. Not a
But
fan. I mean,
he
I'm
oh,
not
pitched
a fan of
today,
what
one
could happen to
shutout
him.
inning.
He
I think
did?
we've
Yeah, he pitched a shutout inning today.
Oh, good.
hmm.
Hey, but that's the first game of the playoffs. If you're telling me there isn't a generational Aroldis Chapman flail job out
Yeah,
there, I don't know.
could think of thousands of scenarios where he's done
Yeah.
that.
And yeah, the Blue Jays, they just kind of made it in. They never really lived up to what their talent is on paper, but they're still good enough, and there's really no dominant team in this league. So, uh,
So Astros in 4 and in 3.
um, you know what? It could happen, but also the Astros could just flail out too. Like I think basing too much on previous results might lead you down some roads where you're like, every year there's a team where we say, oh, yep, this is gonna happen, and then the opposite happens. You got a lot of teams that are built for playoff success. Not the Marlins though. Not the Marlins.
They
That
just failed to lose pretty much. Like they
Yeah,
failed to choke. Everyone else
yeah. The
choked.
Cubs, the
That was
Cubs kind
bad.
of. Oh my God, Evan Longoria just made another crazy play at third. Just timeless.
Do we
I did
want to
not.
just
Dry.
give our picks for the World Series because it's the first day? So
Yeah,
Um,
before we
still
get too deep,
fresh.
yeah.
yes. You go first.
Okay, yeah, I got Braves over the Astros in six. Boring prediction, but that's what I got.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. But I know that or I don't know. I have some upsets in my bracket, but eventually it'll just be Astros Braves.
Games?
hmm
I tend to believe
Um,
in
think
my darkest heart, I do believe that will happen. However, uh, I think the Phillies can beat the Braves,
that's what
and I
I'm
don't think it takes. I don't think it takes that much imagination, really.
right.
Um,
The Braves pitching doesn't like seem super scary
no,
the other
it's
day.
not.
I
It's
think
not.
like an offense like Philly, like they could definitely beat that.
Yeah, the Dodgers too. Although the Dodgers just don't have that much starting pitching either. Like every team's got at least some major question about their ability to sustain, which is why I kind of like the Orioles to maybe come out of the East.
Hmm.
I think it could. I think Grayson. I think people are overlooking how good their top two have been recently. Kyle Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez have both really been in form. Um, they have a nice bullpen and they can hit. Teams that can hit home runs in the playoffs win. I
Yeah.
know you'll see fans that talk about home run or bust mentalities being a really big problem. It's like 77% of the time. You hit more home runs in the playoffs, you're gonna win. Guys are throwing the ball harder than ever before. They throw the ball especially harder in the playoffs. You can't catch up to velo, can't win.
Right. I can't honestly can't think of too many team like any team really maybe outside of Houston or Tampa whose pitching really makes me think they could carry their way to the end because I feel like everyone is vulnerable at some
Yeah.
point, whether the starting rotation or the bullpen.
Or in
Like,
their
I don't think there's any safe bet
yeah.
with that. But I'm just going off of the Houston experience and just Houston double magic. The
Yeah.
Legion all the way there.
We've all been subject to it. And they have enough talent to make it work, even if they're I do think that it could be that them not playing their best players every day might also cost them a game, and that could be the difference. Like all of these things that we talk about with these teams, they matter unless they win a World Series. And then they don't matter, they go away. But
Mhm.
eventually these problems are going to rear their head in for the Astros. At some point, running their organization, like taking a step back, which is what they did this year in terms of their process. They're gonna regress at some point. Um,
Do you mean
but
like
I
not
feel like
playing
we
Chaz
said that
McCormick
years ago.
McCormick and
and
yeah,
the
Chet McCormick
catcher and the catcher?
and Yenier Diaz are
Yeah.
just not playing nearly enough. And their lineup's been bizarre. They're he's still using the number two hole as like a guy who can get runners over. Like Dusty is obviously a beloved guy. I'm sure great for the clubhouse. Although who the hell knows? He's 73. Like he might he might have just been passed by. But um, be that as it may, um, the season's over. The playoffs are here. And we're talking about awards.
Award season.
It's the award show, fourth true outcome
Let's
award
go, baby.
show.
Let's go.
Yo,
All
ooh,
right,
ooh,
so
ooh.
I will deliver the
My
premise.
cousin.
Or award host.
I am the award host, taking over fourth true outcome. We all submitted without discussing anything with each other. We all submitted our own ballots the way they would be submitted as if it was a real ballot. So MVP was 1 to 10, ranked choice voting, and Cy Young was 1 to 5, and Rookie of the Year was 1 to 3, and that's how they really vote in real life, the Writers Association. So we all did our ballots, except for producer Gordon's was so bad, we let him do it over
Hey, hey,
again.
hey, hey. There's
Mhm.
some circumstances.
Circumstances,
He's now
someone
known as
didn't
Punished
take
Gordon,
the assignment seriously.
Dark Gordon.
I remembered it and I'm like, okay, I'll knock it out, except I knocked it out way too fast.
Yep.
Did not give it any
Someone
second
doesn't
thought.
Now, do you
care
guys?
about fourth true outcome.
Hmm.
I don't think you care enough.
What? All right, let's get into our ballots. Let me
So should we start with Rookie of the
my
Year? Let's do it how they do it in real life. We'll start with Rookie of the Year and we'll get all the way down to MVP.
Yeah.
And I have the results. No one knows the results except for me. So this is a sample size of 3 ballots for everyone watching. There's only 3 ballots. We have some interesting results. And let's just go through it. We'll start at Rookie of the Year. We'll start in the National League. There's only 4 people. Only 4 people got votes. And in third place with 2 points, I'll say points. for the
One
votes.
per vote.
Yes,
Or
at one third place vote, two third place votes is Nolan Jones of the Colorado Rockies. Joey and producer Gordon put him at third place. I did not have him on my ballot.
I will say right now, I probably would pick Kodai Senga.
Yes, we're gonna get to that because
well,
I
wait,
think
yeah.
that was one person you clearly forgot about, and we're gonna get to the Cy Young.
Yes.
I think you kind of just forgot,
Here's
which
what
is fine.
Kodai's
here's what
two
happened. I
rookies.
would like I would like to explain my process on this. Not to get into all the factors, but I was using Fangraphs dashboard. I was filtering by rookies, National League. I didn't realize that I did not check the pitchers.
Ah,
But
that's half
given
This is
the
okay though because I feel like the baseball writers aren't the smartest bunch in the world, and they might make the same mistake.
yes, we are we are I think we I say this with full conviction. We have the intellectual capacity to
Of the
be
baseball
capable of
writers.
running a New York Post sports column.
No,
we
We could
absolutely
are
we
write for
do.
USA
Bob
Today.
Nightingale.
All right, so let me
Yes.
continue because we'll get to Kodai Senga. James Outman was in third place with 4 points. Um, Joey put him as second place. I put him at third place. Producer Gordon did not have Outman on his ballot. Still good for third place and
Nada.
4 points. Kodai Senga is our second place, getting a second place vote from both myself and producer Gordon, not on Joey's ballot, an
I will
oversight, but
Yes, it was.
did not affect the voting. Did not
I
affect
mean,
the
number
voting.
one's unanimous.
Number one was unanimous, Corbin Carroll. Do you guys just want to briefly talk about Corbin Carroll a little bit? Just the season he had, 50 stolen bases, 25 home runs, leading the Diamondbacks to the playoffs.
And you just said it yourself right there.
Then we
Yeah.
can
He
continue. So we're all good. We're all unanimous with Corbin
is
Carroll. And I
yeah,
think we got it
a
right.
generational
Absolutely.
base running talent. 6 WAR as a rookie. We're
On
looking at a superstar
Fangraphs,
in the making. We're
I
looking
think
at a superstar.
I think F War is lame and uncool, and I like Baseball Reference War.
I
Boo.
think you're only saying that because Baseball Reference has a better user interface.
Yes, but also for pitchers, I don't like FIP being used so heavily in WAR calculations. I think that's silly because WAR is a counting stat that is based on the past. I don't care about the future when I look at WAR. That is
Be that as it may.
conversation for a different time. All right, so we're cool. Corbin Carroll first place, Kodai Senga second place. I think that's correct, even though Joey forgot about Kodai Senga. I think we
Yeah.
got it right.
Yeah.
Outman and Jones getting
Keep twisting that
third
knife,
and fourth.
won't you?
Because it's going to come back again in the Cy Young voting because you forgot about him there too.
No way.
Yeah, Joey, you
I didn't
forgot about
forget
him in
about him
Cy
that
Young.
time.
You just didn't have him on.
No,
Well,
I didn't. He didn't pitch enough innings for me.
Wow. Okay, so there's going to be a conversation, but we're going to get to AL Rookie of the Year, which we have to drag producer Gordon through the mud
that
a little bit because your ballot was so atrocious that we let you do it over again. The original
I
ballot for
forgot
producer
about
Gordon
a few guys.
had
Okay.
Masataka Yoshida in first place and Gunnar Henderson not on the ballot. That being
This
said,
is a
in
world where I
fourth
forgot
place, only
Gunner.
with the revised ballot, in fourth place, we had Edouard Julien getting actually no third place votes, but still getting last. He got a second place vote from Joey. Ended up getting the fourth place. Third place appearing on two ballots, not appearing on Joey's ballot again, but other two ballots was Yenier Cano. Me and producer Gordon both had him on there. Josh Jones, second place, appeared on all three ballots and got 5 points and it got second. And unanimously, after two attempts, Gunnar Henderson was our rookie of the year.
It also took you 2 attempts to say unanimously. So,
You
maybe we
You
should be more
got me.
forgiving. Maybe we should be more
yeah.
forgiving about mistakes all around.
Watch yourself, buddy.
Yeah.
Some
I
of us
do
forget
think it's
pitchers. Some of us
interesting
forget Gunner.
that Joey didn't have Yennier Cano, and I thought that Rookie of the Year was a really good spot to highlight a really great reliever. And I actually had him second.
Agreed.
Producer Gordon had him third. I'm just curious your thoughts on that, Joey.
About Yenny or Cano.
Yeah, he ended up getting third in our voting. You
Um,
left him off.
yeah, having I miss that he's outstanding. Um, he's just one of those guys who always had stuff and then figured it out, and I'm really happy for him.
And
What,
I
he's like
think the
28?
Julien pick that Joey only you had was actually a pretty good
Yeah.
pick. He had
Sneaky
much
dark
better
horse.
He
numbers than I
helped.
thought when I
He
looked.
yeah. One of the reasons, like, if you look at the Twins and you see, Buxton's been a DH who barely plays. Correa's been not himself all year. They've had a bunch of guys. They've had just a bunch of lefty bats step up, and Julian's been one of the most out of nowhere ones. Max Kepler, who, I wanted the Yankees to get him. I still want the Yankees to get him. He's also been great, but yeah, shout out to Julian. If the Twins do anything in the playoffs, he's going to have to do something. So good for him.
But I think it's worth shouting out. We all had Josh Young, producer Gordon. You were the highest on him, putting him second.
Anyway, I want to go back to the Julian pick because
Go
what
ahead.
about Royce Lewis? So I feel like Royce Lewis was a rookie, right?
Yeah, I only played 50 something games
Yeah,
though.
I didn't. I picked my guys partially just based on
Just longevity or how much.
yeah, based on I would also say shout out to Zach Geloff, who hit 267, 337, 504 in 70 games for the A's. No one saw him play, but he did play very well. And also shout out Yanier Diaz, who was a very good defense. He was a very good catcher as a hitter and wasn't there.
Yeah, a lot of good
And
rookies.
oh yeah, and for the Red Sox fans who get mad about their players having bad defense and so having low WAR, Tristan Casas here ranks 13th among American League rookies. He's a very good hitter, but not quite there.
All right, so we just went through both the rookie of the years. Congratulations to Gunnar Henderson and Corbin Carroll, who I fully expect to be the actual winners of the award. Now we're going to get into Cy Young and MVP. These awards I really love because these are the kind of awards that impact players' legacy, impact their Hall of Fame chances.
The money.
Yeah, the rookie of the year really doesn't actually matter that much, to be
Yeah.
honest. But the MVPs and Cy
Tell
Youngs,
that
these are
you tell that to
wages
Michael
presented.
Thor. You tell you tell Chris Coughlin that the rookie of the year means nothing.
Not for Chris Coglin's Hall of Fame case.
God.
Okay. Now we'll start with the National League. Now this is 1 through 5 voting, and we actually only had six. This goes to sixth place. We actually have a tie for fifth. So fifth and sixth tied. We'll call it fifth place. And we have Justin Steele and Corbin Burns. And next up in fourth place, we have Kodai Senga, absent from uh one ballot. Next is Zach Gallen, got third place. Logan Webb in second, and unanimously Blake Snell in first place.
We're all very happy about that.
So can I just make a guess right here? A little
Yeah,
gander. The Logan Webb love, is it that 216 innings
it's also a 3.25
and
ERA.
Yes.
1.29
I
walk
almost
per
gave
nine?
him I very nearly voted for him.
I'll spoil this. I gave Logan Webb an MVP vote.
Oh my God.
So
I
I'll tell you
was
the breakdown. Logan Webb was second for both myself and Joey, and producer Gordon, you gave him a fifth place vote, totaling 9 points.
Yes. I just think when I look at my other votes for top four, I mean, big ERA guy, I gotta say, and big strikeout guy. And it might not be super marginal, but that's what separates fifth from fourth and
So
third.
Zach, you had Zach Allen second. You
Yeah.
didn't have the best ERA by didn't have a better ERA than Logan Webb.
But he did have more strikeouts
All right, that's
and
the super.
innings also were pretty good.
Innings.
He
I
did
think
not
you're
have the innings.
discounting how
Logan
much
Webb had
innings
the innings. What are
matter,
you
to be
talking
I
honest.
about?
know, no, I'm saying his innings were high as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Joey, you kind of just forgot about. Oh, you didn't. You said you didn't forget about Kodai Senga. I
I
really
didn't forget
liked
about
Kodai
Kodai
Senga.
Senga.
I really
He,
liked him.
I like him a lot too. I think he's going to be a very good pitcher for a long time, but you need at least 170 innings to me to be counted for it.
I
That's
had him third. I
qualified.
was the highest one on Kodai.
The
For
ability
me,
to take the ball every fifth day and reliably get your team deep into the game, like when we're talking about what innings pitched actually does, that has an effect that trickles down in so many games. You're saving bullpen arms, you're keeping them for higher leverage, you're getting more outs, you're giving your offense more chances to hit with your best pitcher on the mound. Um, it's having, especially in today's game where pitchers are throwing less than ever, pitchers getting injured is a fact of life. Having a guy that you can rely on to start every fifth day and pitch reasonably deep into games is that's the job.
I will say
And
with Cy, I completely agree with what you're saying. For me, with Cy Young, it's like a balancing act. Is like how much volume do you count for, and how much like sheer run prevention do you account for? It's like the
absolutely,
quality of innings really matter. And I love the innings eater, the ace innings eater. And that's why I love Logan Webb at second. But I think where it comes in for first place, and we all agreed, is that Blake Snell was just by far, despite all the walks, just what happened on the field, he was just by far the best run preventer in the National League.
yeah.
yep.
And
Simple.
and and those walks serve a purpose for him because if his stuff isn't is that unhittable, uh, that he can walk guys and still get out of innings, like it does hurt his team's flexibility. It strains them. And you saw in the Padres, all-time anomaly of a season with their record in close games. But
Yeah,
yeah, the run prevention is undeniable, and I think you have to vote him
that's why I
number
kind of
one.
landed on Kodai Senga. I thought the run prevention and the strikeouts were real undeniable for him as well. That's why I put him third. But I think it's fine. I have a
Yeah,
difference of opinion. You
yeah,
had Justin Steele. I mean, that's where you took off. You had
yeah,
Justin Steele.
yeah. I put him fifth because he's basically Snell. He's Snell light to me.
I was gonna say that exact same thing
Yeah,
about Sanga too, but even Steele more.
yeah. And then in the
He
middle
just
with
flared out to
Webb.
me. I had Corbin Burns instead.
Mm,
Yeah, Burns was there for me too.
say
Uh,
he would definitely be sixth or
the
seventh.
American League.
Yes, so the American League actually went down to 7 people, not 6.
Really?
Uh, in tied for sixth with 1 point. I had Jorge Lopez at fifth, and Joey, you had Framber Valdez at fifth, which gives them each 1 point. Um, Ridiculously, this is now where we can start shaming producer Gordon. You had Justin Verlander in fourth place, which gives him 2 points, which gets him fifth place. Um, he pitched like 12 games in the American League, but that's the official fourth true outcome. Fifth place winner, Justin Verlander. Great.
Congratulations.
Luis
Not
Castillo gets fourth place, appearing on everyone's ballot with 5 points. Kevin Gosman gets third place. This was actually interesting. Um, Both myself and producer Gordon were the same top three. Joey, you swapped Sonny Gray and Gosman.
I'll talk about that too.
And so Gray, so for me and producer Gordon, Gray got second place, which ended up getting him second place overall with 11 points. And unanimously number one, Garrett Cole. We don't need to talk about Garrett Cole too much because he's fucking
He's Garrett
awesome.
Cole.
Yeah.
He's like we were talking about run prevention mixed with volume. Garrett Cole is like the only pitcher this entire year who really had both. He had the horse volume with the ace-like run prevention. He was really the only true horse's ace the
Yeah.
entire year in both leagues,
Yeah.
and he's just awesome.
Yeah.
But we can get into Gray Gosman now if you'd like to talk about that.
Yes, I would. So obviously, as I've said before, innings pitched and ERA. If those two things can settle which pitcher is better to me, then that's what I'll use. But here's a case: Gray and Gossman, they're within 1 inning of each other. Gray's ERA is 2.79. Gossman's is 3.16. But I was not satisfied with that. First thing that jumps off the page to me, Sonny Gray's home run to fly ball rate is 5.2%. For those who don't know, the league average is about 12. And any significant deviation of that size is gonna be the result of luck a lot of the time. Like
I'll let you finish, but I'm gonna fight you on this because this is an award of what happened.
Yeah, this
And
is
I
a
don't think
fifth type
luck-based things
talk
should
here.
matter. It's results-based. And Gray just had better results than Kevin Gosman. And I want to sometimes take into account strikeouts because Gosman had the lower
I was
strikeouts
gonna
and the
get to
lower
that
FIP.
too. I was gonna
But
get to that
I'll
too.
let you continue. I'll let you continue.
Gosman had a 31% strikeout rate. Gray was at 24.3. I don't even that's barely league average. Combine that, they had about the same walk rate. Gosman's ratios here are a lot better. I do think that is worth including there because yes, run prevention. I think ERA is what should be used. I also think that if we're going to talk about an award that's honoring the best pitcher, um, you have to acknowledge that not all runs from ERA come from the pitcher. This is not like there's other things you can use if these things are similar.
So Baseball Reference
Um,
Board does use RA9, runs allowed per nine, not
yeah,
ERA. Just to be clear.
yeah. That's why I kind of have a hard time with Baseball Reference Force
No, but
sometimes.
it's not ERA, it's runs allowed per nine.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so then you're the problem with ERA is you don't like because errors and stuff comes into play and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like just poor defense in general. And you could talk me out of Gossman versus Gray. It's not that I feel particularly strongly about one or the other. I just think that's a point that should be brought up.
So I don't feel very strongly one or the other either. We're talking about second or third place.
Yeah,
Like if it was between first and second, we would have a much more heated debate about this. But I just I just think when you talk about the fly ball to home run rate, I think that's when I look at awards, I think that's a great thing to bring up when you're talking about and I'm sure we're gonna do this on the podcast, are top 50 players for 2024 list. We're gonna do this. And I'm
yes.
gonna 100% have Gosman ahead of Gray. I think Gosman's a much better pitcher than Sonny
Yeah.
Gray. But when you're talking about what happened in 2023, I just personally land on Sonny Gray being the second best pitcher in the American League and not Kevin Gosman.
That's a perfectly valid. That's perfectly valid. And I still have him thirds. This isn't a big
Yeah.
disagreement, but
And we're splitting hairs for
we
second
really
and third.
it's time we stop squabbling about this and we start doing some bullying. Gordon,
Yes.
you need to take a lap. Justin Verlander,
How many?
Yeah, this is
come on.
ridiculous. What the fuck
You know
was
what?
that?
I'll tell you what, you got to take a lap for every inning Justin Verlander pitched in the American League this season. How about that?
That's not much.
That's actually doable, to be fair, because it was not a
Like,
lot. Just
yeah,
bozo.
yeah, you probably
I
wouldn't even
think
need
I
to
made
take a shower
I had
afterward.
a misunderstanding. I think I mixed up my Astros players in my head when I was making it, and I did not catch that when I was making my second ballot.
You had
Through
two
68
chances.
innings.
Yeah, and I overlooked Mr. Verlander.
Wait, so
Unless
he
you're
he pitched 68 innings. Hold on,
yep.
let's divide that 68 divided by 4. It's about 17 miles. That's very doable.
That's less than a marathon.
Yeah, that's about
Oh,
17 miles you owe us.
Okay.
Christian
Okay.
Walker just hit 2 runs in for the Diamondbacks.
Oh, baby.
You
Let's
know,
get into National League MVP.
the Brewers should really consider having some guys who can hit,
Not Josh
Not
Donaldson. Anyway,
random.
not
okay.
Josh Donaldson.
Let's get into National League MVP because this was also just some nonsense from producer Gordon. I will start.
And
We
let's
got
focus on the top five. That's all that matters to
we
me.
will get there, but I no, but I think the top five is like very like there's not like much
There's not
discussion
much
about it, but
deviation.
which is why I think like the bottom ballot is actually really interesting to talk about. But
Yeah.
I will give you the results now. We went all the way down to 15 places, so 15 people got votes. Uh, I alluded to this. I gave Logan Webb a 10th place vote. Neither of you in AL or NL put any pitchers on the MVP voting. I
Yes.
personally don't like pitchers winning MVP, but I do think they deserve votes, like
Yes.
somewhere in the down
The
ballot.
recognition.
So I had Logan Webb as my 10th place MVP. He got 1 point. That is tied for Dansby Swanson, which we will get into Dansby Swanson, who had also 1 vote.
Who
That's a
could
complete lie. Dansby Swanson is actually, I screwed up. He is tied for 12th with Snell and Wilson Contreras with 2 points.
Will
That is
Sing
a
or
lie.
William?
William. We had a 3-way tie for 12th with 2 points with Swanson, Snell, and William Contreras. Next up was 11th place was Cody Bellinger with 3 points, only on producer Gordon's ballot. 10th place was Bryce Harper. Now, putting Bryce Harper on this ballot opens producer Gordon's other ballots up for lots of inconsistencies, getting 4 points. Francisco Lindor, I actually had to say this about Lindor. Lindor was actually only on 1 ballot. Producer Gordon, you
That's
submitted
egregious.
in both times, in both ballots, you submitted your NL ballot with 11 people on it. And so
Did
instead of
I?
caring enough to text you, tell you that, I just
Oh,
omitted Lindor because he was your 11th person.
brother.
And we'll get into the fact that you had Swanson over Lindor, which is egregious and nonsensical. But
I
next up,
think I had meant to probably get rid of one of them, but likely
so
Dansby.
we will get Austin Riley got 8th place with 6 votes, not on producer Gordon's ballot. On myself and Joey's ballot, 8th place with 6 points. Luis Arise, actually missing from Joey's ballot, gets 7th place, 7 points. Now, next up, 6 through 1 is very not much discussion to talk about. Corbin Carroll got 13 points for 6th place. Now, this is Juan Soto in 5th place. Every single one of us, let's just give ourselves a round of applause for this. We all put him 5th. Great job,
Just
guys.
make up for my discretions.
We did a good job. We all put Juan Soto 5th. This is besides like first and second places being like obvious, this is the only thing we agreed on. He got 18 points. Now, this is the little bit of controversy. 4th place was Freddie Freeman with 22 points, and
What?
Matt Olson got 3rd place with 23 points. This is because both myself and producer Gordon put Matt Olson in 3rd
I
and
like
Freddie in
dingers.
4th. And I will say, I do like 54 dingers. We can talk about this more if you want, Joey. But in second place, unanimously second place, Mookie Betts with 27 points, and Acuna was unanimous at first place with 42 points. I don't think we need to talk about, like, we can briefly say Acuna 40, 70, led the league in WAR. Like, he was amazing. Like, he obviously deserves it.
Yeah.
Mookie was amazing, but just not quite as amazing as Acuna, second place. And then we can talk about Olson Freeman if you guys like.
And Joey, why do you think Freeman holds a spot over Olsen?
Um, well, he's got a little better defense. His offense is ever so slightly better. And he's a better base runner. I mean, they are basically they are almost identical players. Not in terms of approach. Olson's a bit more
In terms
patient.
of overall production value,
Yes,
yes.
whereas Freeman is just an all-time great bat to ball guy. He hits strikes hard, and he does it year in, year out. He did it again this year. I think they're perfectly worthy of that. Acuna, I was a Betts guy until recently, but
Because
Acuna,
I
Betts
mean,
struggled. Betts really struggled in the
Betts, yeah, Betts
September.
like
fell
there
off.
was a point where Betts was
Yeah,
the guy,
yeah,
but
but
that was
but
like 2 weeks
Braves.
ago.
It's really fascinating to watch these dynasties rise and fall because being a Yankees fan, like we're the one fan base where the fans are kind of always at that insane fever pitch of like we should be watching greatness and being extremely like aggressive toward other fan bases, right? But it happened with the Astros, and now it's happened with the Braves, where their fans just cannot handle any amount of criticism directed towards their players, even when it's not criticism, even when it's just like, maybe our best player isn't having literally the best offensive season ever. Like so it brings me no pleasure to admit to Braves fans that their player is the best in the league. But as far as Acuna himself, yeah, he's just incredible. So good on him. And
Can I just give you why I put Olsen third over Freeman?
yes,
I think it's so close. I think it's splitting hairs and it's not that big a deal because third and fourth place. But I think this is the same reason Gordon is going to have is that I see their production as roughly equivalent. And I just think 54 dingers is sexy.
That's a whopping 25 more homers
Look,
than
54 dingers is a sexy number. And
yeah.
that's a
that's what I
good
had it.
54 is like a solid number.
It's a lot of home runs.
It's better
Like
than 55, honestly.
or
Just aesthetically.
53.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Just
Like
might as well.
I would rather my team win 97 games than 98. Just looks better.
I think there's one
Big
thing we
97.
have to address left with NL MVP before we move on. Is that I will say I did not have Francisco Lindor on my ballot. He would have been my 11th. I wanted to make room for pitchers, so that was just my philosophy. I wanted
That's
to
fair.
give some love to Snell and Logan Webb, and Lindor would have been my 11th person. But producer Gordon, you had Swanson over Lindor. I'll give you the stand. Just do your
This
best.
may have just been another Verlander, guys. That's what it comes to.
So you're just
Not
admitting that you just
much.
don't know ball.
Not that. Because honestly, looking at this again, I'm not quite sure what made me think that. I know what made me think Lindor would be 10th. I think like his WAR, his just offensive production. I'm
I mean,
looking at
he's the best defensive shortstop,
yeah,
and he
exactly,
has
exactly,
reasonably good offense.
exactly. That's why I'm
Quite good.
having doubts on what the heck I was thinking because what on this says that Dansby is better than him. Except he does have better defensive production actually per
I
Fangraphs.
mean, I was fine. I put Dansby at the 10 spot kind of as a placeholder because a lot of the names right below him, I just couldn't quite get myself behind. Um, Honestly, Tatis could have wormed his way on there too. He's been a revelation out there in right field. Ha-Seong Kim too. Um, I think deserves a shout out for the year he had, just taking that shortstop job and seizing it. Very fun player to watch. Um,
You mean second base, right?
he was the shortstop.
No,
Took over the
Bogarts.
shortstop.
Bogarts. No,
Bogarts.
Bogarts
Oh,
is third.
Bogarts. Oh
Was
yeah, yeah,
Bogarts
yeah.
third?
No, Bogarts played the whole year.
Bogarts played the whole year, but
Kim was second base the whole year.
he was second base the whole year. Either way, I mean,
Nobody
he's
had Kim on their ballots. He
yeah.
had a
But
lot of
these are honorable
war.
mentions.
Honorable mentions, yeah.
Just guys.
Would we like to go on to AL MVP, where we will fight because
Yes.
these are our favorite teams
This
in
is
this league.
Mm-hmm.
So
this
we
is
will
the
fight.
most egregious thing you will listen to today,
Yes.
listeners.
Okay.
Let's
We'll
get
start.
into it.
We went all the way down to 16 places. Tied for 15th was Adolis Garcia only on Gordon's ballot and Gunnar Henderson only on my ballot. I was surprised you guys didn't put Gunnar. I put Gunnar at 10th. I was surprised you guys didn't have Gunnar. Next up, 14th place, Randy of Rosarena, only on Gordon's ballot. 13th place, J Ram, also only on Gordon's ballot.
I considered him heavily.
He was like my 11th or 12th.
Me too.
I mean, he's on it every year. That's just
Number 12, Bobby Witt Jr., 4 points, only on Joey's ballot. I wanted him too. He was like 11 or 12 for me. Number 11, only on my ballot. This again, it gets into pitchers. I had Garrett Cole. I gave him 5 points. I had him like sixth. Put up like 7.5 B WAR. Like,
Yeah. I
you know,
almost put him.
I had to have Cole on there. I thought he was amazing.
Yeah, I regret not putting him on, to be honest. But
Next up, we have a tie for ninth place. So ninth and 10th is tied for ninth. At ninth, we have Yandy, who Yandy actually got on to Gordon's ballot on the revisions, which was actually shook things up. And Kyle Tucker, who was only on one ballot. It was Gordon's ballot. We gave
really.
him really high. Yes, Tucker was going to be it was Tucker, J Ram, Witt were like
Oh my
my
God.
11 through 13.
I want to hear why in a moment.
Yeah, we can get to, I think Tucker's amazing too. Uh, next up at seventh, we have it's a tie for seventh place is Jordan Alvarez and Luis Robert. And one of the reasons that Tucker wasn't on my ballot is because I wanted to let Luis Robert on my ballot
Hey,
because
can
I
we have
wanted to
both
give him
on
a
the
little
ballot?
credit. They both had 8
They're
points.
both dogs, man.
8 points for not Luis Alvarez. Oh my God, Jordan Alvarez, who was not on Gordon's ballot, which we'll talk about that. Next up in sixth place with 10 points was Adley Rutschman. And Gordon, you had Adley Rutschman on your first ballot, and I was like, this is like I think one of your better picks, and then you removed him
That's
for your
crazy.
final ballot. So like Adley was I
don't
think
make things
fifth.
easy.
And then he went down to sixth because you took him off. But me and Joey both had him 10 points. Fifth place was Aaron Judge. Me and Joey both had him on 12 points. Julio Rodriguez got 17 points in fourth place. Marcus Simeon was third place with 23 points. Corey Seager was unanimously second place at 27 points. And Shohei Ohtani was unanimously number one. Quickly, let's not talk about Ohtani, but I'll just quickly go over Ohtani. He is
Hits and
Ohtani.
pitches.
He's
It
God.
doesn't matter. We get it. He missed a month. Who cares?
I mean, does this set a precedent? Like, if he does this every year, just even if the hitting
I think
isn't
the
this
difference
great,
is
or
we're with Judge last year. I get what you're getting at. I think with Judge last year, what Judge like straight up outvalued him in production with on offense just by himself. No one was really close to Ohtani this year.
Yeah.
In WAR.
Mm.
He had like a 3 WAR lead on anyone in the
Yeah.
American League.
I think this year was just always going to happen at least once or twice.
Yeah.
And I don't think it means he's going to win it every year. He's never going to win the AL MVP again, actually, because he's going to be on the Dodgers
Or the Giants.
or the Giants.
Padres.
I think the Giants could make a splash. Okay, so
I
let's first thing we should talk about is okay, so we had Semyon got third. I think I want to talk about actually don't want to jump the gun. I want to talk about Seager really quick because actually I was doing a little bit of researching on Seager and other shortstops. I just want to say how amazing his season was despite the time he missed. I was trying to find comparable peak seasons to Corey Seager's season this year in terms of like OPS and home runs and everything. And first thing I looked at was like prime Hanley Ramirez. And I was like looking, nope, Seager's got him beat every year. Like Hanley has never had a year as good as Seager. And then I was like, okay, maybe I got to upgrade a little bit. I looked at Troy Tulowitzki, and Tulo doesn't even come up to Seager. I had to go to A-Rod.
Jeez,
Corey Seager had an A-Rod prime season this year. I think we just need to let that sink in.
that's
Yeah.
kind of insane.
he
Good for
slugged
him.
623.
He was so good, despite missing about a month and a half. Played 120 something games.
Yeah.
He had
He
an
might have
A-Rod year. He had an A-Rod year.
he might have won the MVP if he had played a full season. He really
Yeah.
might have.
Imagine.
I mean, he put up 7 WAR despite missing that time. He was so good. And he's still playing in the playoffs where he had 2 hits today. That being said, I had Semyon. We all had Semyon very high. He ended up getting third. Uh, I think there's like a critical mass in the American League of like 5 WAR players. Like 4.5 to like 5.5 WAR players.
Yeah.
Semyon was like at 7 and like 6.5 on both Fangraphs and Baseball Reference, and he's like the perennial Iron Man player. So
Yep.
I think we all
162.
recognize that, and we gave it. He ended up getting third place. Julio was amazing, getting fourth place. But I think we got to talk about me and Joey had Judge and Alvarez on our ballots. James, you had
Yeah.
them off. With
I'm a qualified player guy.
I think that's nonsense.
I am a 400. I set my minimum to 400. And I it like I sorted by war, which is the default, but I
Yeah,
also
because
use
the volume stat.
yeah, I also use WRC plus because I don't want to discount guys who just regardless of anything else had an amazing offensive year because these are
Yes.
position players. Hitting is the most important thing and
Yes.
squabble
Thank
about
you.
everything else.
Completely agree.
That's how I got Yandy at number 9 or 10, I believe.
You mean
Um,
Jordan or Yandy?
well,
Which one you mean?
Yandy,
Yandy as
Yandy
well.
Had
also.
You had Yandy
Um,
with 3 points. He's like
yeah,
that means 8th place.
yeah. And I had Jordan. I had
You
Jordan at
slotted
not.
him down.
I slotted him down just because, like, I have to be real. I wanted to give him a vote, but as good of a hitter as he is, it's just not quite as value as somebody who played a full season, who played a defensive
Sure.
position very well, who ran the bases. Like
Yeah.
there's a ceiling, but I think a guy like Jordan is just too good of a hitter to be left off.
That's exactly where I'm going. This like he's just too good of a hitter. And I think what I just talked about, there's like a critical mass in the American League of just like around 5 WAR players. And Jordan and Judge are part of that group, but they played 2/3 of the season.
Yeah,
So if you're able to accumulate the same WAR as your competitors in fewer games, you clearly had a better season.
I was
And I think the biggest thing is that Aaron Judge and Jordan Alvarez can hit at a level that simply other players cannot reach.
yes. Yeah,
And that is why I had Aaron Judge fourth and Jordan fifth.
the guy that comes in my head whenever I think about Jordan is David Ortiz, just in
Of
terms of
course.
how scary, how imposing he is, had like the drop in your stomach when he comes up to the plate. And I was talking about this with a friend of mine who's a Red Sox fan, and he immediately scoffed at it, like Ortiz is just way better and all that. And I went to look at the stats. Jordan's from the time he got in the league hit better than Ortiz did at his peak, just consistently. Like we're dealing
Yeah.
with an all-time great hitter here, and I wanted to recognize that. I also want to talk about I was the only one who had Bobby Witt Jr., right?
You were the only one to have Bobby Witt.
Yeah. He took an enormous leap right away. I think if I was going to put Lindor on my ballot, I had to put Witt because he is nearly as good defensively and same as offensively. He also stole 49 bases and he's a great base runner. The Royals have a rough future ahead, but if they're going to turn it around, Bobby Witt Jr. is going to have to do it because he's arrived.
No, he was for sure in my like 11
Yeah.
through 13 range.
Yeah.
I think I did kind of like for me it was tough because I want to get Cole on there. And like in the National League, I wanted Webb and I wanted Snell. So I kind of just pushed some guys out. But yeah, totally good pick for sure.
Yeah. And I would say I think I might have overlooked Kyle Tucker a little bit, but it was just a very crowded list for me.
He
There's a
was
lot of
close
good
for me
players.
too.
There's
I
The
mean, he
thing that
does
put Kyle
everything
Tucker,
though.
yeah, I just wanted to have the center fielders like Julio and Robert on. That's what got me over Tucker. Like Tucker was
yeah,
so close.
yeah. Anyway, I Gordon, I think it's time you defend yourself and this
Hold,
your
wait,
ballot that you have.
7 minutes left.
can I just set up the context for this?
Mhm.
The original producer Gordon ballot put Luis Robert Jr. and all 315 of his on base percentage at third. Third.
Yeah.
You
Trace.
put him we
I
talked you down from the ledge and got you to put him at like fifth or sixth. He ended up at seventh overall. What's going on, man? Like, I know you're biased, but third was ridiculous.
um yeah, I mean this was just me jumping the gun so badly, but I just saw I mean third in home runs. You know how I like home runs, man.
I
And then
like home runs too when like
I
you hit like
think
50.
just him having the war he has with the run production he had and the home runs, even though it was all just slugging. Which I mean the slugging he was
Was great. No, the
top
slugging was
three.
great,
Yeah.
100%.
And that's why I like the most.
I'll
But
give you my thought process with Luis Robert because I actually we had him on our me and Joey both had him on our ballot. I had him ninth, Joey had him 10th. And when I looked at Luis Robert, I was like, okay, 315 on base percentage. I want to throw up in my mouth. That is so bad. And I was
I think
like,
that just
okay,
disqualifies him
he
from
no. But then I looked at it, it's like he slugs and he plays center field and he put
play
up,
center field very well.
5 WAR. He plays a
That
really good center field. He deserves at least a down ballot vote. And I knew this is my thought process. Like I know that Gordon, you were gonna give me shit if I didn't have Luis Robert on our ballot. And I was like, fine. I expected you to be biased and put him around sixth or fifth place. I just did not expect third. That is just egregious to me. But I do think he deserves like to be on there because he had a great year.
yeah. Listen, that first ballot I should never have happened.
Okay,
Just
so we
full
we
disclosure,
moved
like
past it.
I came home, I was out that day watching football, having a couple drinks, and I get home. I'm
oh,
not
Ooh.
I don't have my
oh,
thinking cap on, my baseball cap on. That was like outside. That was maybe in the next state. I was just rattling off names. And of course, my guy, Luis Robert, I'm like, top three.
Also,
He's an amazing player.
he is? What's you voted for Randy Arozarena?
He did.
Can you speak to the class about that one?
Randy Rosarena.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because his run production and also wait, what's the other thing I was looking at with him? Uh the heck. Hmm. I mean, it's just the run
How do
production.
you justify Randy Rosarena and Adolis Garcia over Aaron Judge and Jordan Alvarez?
Yeah, that's
Qualified.
So you just have no good reason.
And Dawes hit 39 homers.
yeah. Any other names? Some other names we might yeah, Jose Ramirez, I'll be the first to admit. Um
I think J Ram's valid.
oh, he's
Yeah,
valid.
he
He
was
is,
so close
Top
for me.
10 valid.
yeah, he
You
is.
took Adley off. We briefly touched on that. You had Adley and took him off. What happened?
Sure what?
Adley's amazing.
He needed
I had
Randy.
him I had him. Let me see where I originally had. I had him like fifth or sixth or seventh, one of those. Um, I have this from when I sent it into the chat, and
Yeah, you had him high and you
I
just
had
took him
him.
off.
He was seventh. Not
Okay. I
sure
think
what happened. I mean Tucker was eighth originally, so Tucker. I'm glad with that jump that I made for him. And then Adley, don't know what I was thinking. And then just FYI, Simeon was fifth while Robert was third. Those flip flopped. Then I believe J Ram dropped a couple and Tucker went up. Adley dropped off. Yandy hopped on the list.
yeah, that's just terrible.
And
Okay. Let's just I think overall with this process, I thought this process was really fun. This exercise was really fun. We got all the first places right. I think
Yeah.
overall
that's
our
all that
final
matters.
results I think we're good. I think, despite differences in philosophies, having arbitrary numbers like qualified being so important
Mhm.
aside, Judge and Alvarez still got very high because democracy, thank God. But overall, I think we did a good job as a whole, and this was really fun.
Mhm.
Um,
If you're looking for anything scientific, you should probably go somewhere else. There's a lot of baseball podcasts. I frankly don't even know what you're doing here right now.
They're trying to get the fourth true outcome.
They
fourth
are. They're
true
trying to find out
outcome.
what it is.
They're still trying to find out.
Yeah.
We did great. I think we did
Yeah.
good on
We
this.
did. We did.
I
Guys,
think
we're
2/3 of us did good on this.